Hi guys. Today we are going to deal with the prisoner of Zenda chapter 2. First I'm going to summarize the most important points in this chapter. Then I'm going to ask some crucial questions about these points. Let's get started. Rasandel had a strong feeling on seeing the king in the forest because they look like each other. They look exactly like each other. Questions or this piece of information can be an answer or part of an answer to a lot of questions. Let's have some of these. Number one, how did راسندل feel on seeing the king؟ ما هو شعور راسندل عند رؤيته للملك؟ وباقي الأسئلة تدور حول هذا المعنى. What feeling did راسندل have on meeting the king? 3. What was his feeling like? Number 4. Why did he have a strong feeling? Number 5. Why did both the king and راسندل looking at each other in amazement when they met in forest? Number 6. What made the king start to laugh? Number 7. Why did Rasandel hope that the king wasn't angry with him? Number 8. Why do you think Sabt and Fritz didn't want راسندل to attend the coronation؟ لماذا اعترض كل من سابت وفريدز على ذهاب راسندل لحضور التتويج؟ ذهاب إلى أوريتانيا وحضور التتويج هناك. Number 9. Why wouldn't it be a good idea for Rasandel to attend the coronation؟ نفس المعنى. Number 10. Why did Sabt choose Rasandel to impersonate the king or to take the place of the king؟ لماذا اختاره لتشخيص دور الملك أو تجسيد دور الملك؟ Number 11. Why did the officers at the customs stare at Rasandel؟ لماذا حملق الجنود أو الضباط في راسندل عند الجمارك أو في الجمارك؟ Number 12. Why didn't anybody notice that Rasandel wasn't the real king؟ لماذا لم يدرك أي أحد أن راسندل ليس الملك؟ Number 13. Why was it difficult for anyone to notice that Rasandel wasn't the king؟ Number 14. What helped Rasandel to play the king's role؟ ما الذي ساعد راسندل في لعب دور الملك؟ Next point number 2. While they were talking, the king stared at Rasandel. Rasandel examined the king carefully. Rasandel noticed that they looked like each other, but there were some slight differences. The king's mouth was less wide. Rasandel's face was a little thinner. Questions. How is Rasandel different from the king? Or what slight physical differences are between Rasandel and the king؟ ما هو الاختلاف بين راسندل والملك الظاهري؟ اختلاف في الشكل. Number 3. What are the similarities and differences between Rasandel and the king؟ The answer. The king's mouth was less wide and Rasandel's face was a little thinner. Number 4. Both the king and Rasandel have different reactions on meeting each other when they first met in the forest. Explain, demonstrate, or give examples. The answer. On meeting each other in the forest, both the king and Rasandel were surprised because they looked like each other. Yet they reacted differently in a different way. The king stared at Rasandel and Rasandel examined the king carefully. Then number 3 or point 3. The king invited Rasandel to go with him to the capital, Stilsau, of course. Fritz thought that it wouldn't be a good idea for Rasandel to attend the coronation. People wouldn't like to see the double of their king. The king asked Rasandel's opinion, or Sabt's opinion, sorry. Questions. First, why did Fritz object to Rasandel's appearance at the time of coronation؟ لماذا كان معترضا على ظهور راسندل وقت التتويج؟ Why? People would like to see the double of their king. الناس لا يرغبون في رؤية شبيه مليكهم أو مثيله. Number 2. How was the first person to object to Rasandel's appearance at Stilsau؟ Fritz, Sabt, the king, of course Fritz as we said. Number 3. What is inferred about the king's character؟ ما يستدل عن شخصية الملك؟ ما يمكن استدلالهم؟ Of course he seemed to be unwise. He seemed not to be wise. He depends a lot on Sabt. Then Rasandel decided to leave Ruritania, but the king insisted that he should wine and dine, means invite Rasandel. They went to the duke's hunting lodge where Joseph served them a delicious dinner followed by a few poisoned cakes. Questions. How did the king wine and dine Rasandel؟ كيف استضاف الملك راسندل؟ ماذا قدم له؟ He invited him for a meal at the hunting lodge. دعاه على وجبات في المنزل الصيد. Number 2. How did the Duke exploit the king's gluttony and insatiability for food to achieve his plan to take the throne? كيف استغل الذوق حب الملك وشراهته ونهمه للأكل في تنفيذ مخططه لاعتلاء العرش. Number 3. The king was so kind that he couldn't see his brother's evil act. Discuss. كان الملك طيبا بدرجة كبيرة منعته أن يفهم مخطط أخيه. اشرح الشرير طبعا. Number 4. To what extent could the king's love to food put an end to his life? إلى أي مدى كان حب الملك للطعام سببا في إنهاء حياته. Number 5. How did the king's insensible behavior lead him to the prisoner of Zenda? تصرفه الغير مسؤول غير محسوم أدى به إلى أن يكون سجين زندا. The answer. Michael knew that Rasenda loved food too much, so he offered him a few poisoned cakes to prevent him from attending the coronation. Number 6. What effect did the poisonous cakes have on both the king and the Rasendal? The king's face was red and he was breathing heavily. Rasendal was just tired and he didn't get up early, as it is pointed out. Then Streltsau was divided into two parts. One was modern, the other was old. Rich people lived in the modern part. They supported the new king as they didn't want things to change. Poor people lived in the old part. They supported the Duke because they wanted things to change. The Duke gave them hope for better future or a better life. Questions. How do you think the gap between the rich and the poor affected the new king? كيف تعتقد أن الفجوة بين الفقراء والأغنياء أثرت على مصير الملك الجديد? Number 2. How did the economic state of the capital city affect the political state? كيف أثر الوضع الاقتصادي في البلاد على الوضع السياسي بها؟ Number 3. There were social and political divisions in Illustrate. كان هناك تقسيمات سياسية واجتماعية في المدينة. اشرح ما أثرها. Yes, the people who lived in the old part supported the Duke, while the rich who lived in the modern part supported the king. بينما كان يؤيد الأغنياء الذين يقطنون الجزء الجديد الملك، كان الآخرون يؤيدون الذوق. أعتقد أنه مترجم. Sept was cunning and a good planner. Explain. How could Sept spoil the Duke's plan to get the throne? Or luck played a vital role to get the coronation happened at the appointed time or as it is planned? Okay, the answer, since Rasendal looked like the king, Sept suggested that Rasendal take the place of the king to rescue the throne. Number 3. Why did Rasendal think it would be impossible for him to replace the king? Why was it difficult for him to replace or to take the place of the king? Why? Yes, people would realize that he isn't the king and that he is English. Number 4. What made him change his opinion and agree to impersonate the king? Yes, he accepted to impersonate the king to save the king, and he did this for the sake of Britannia. Also, Fritz assured that it would be an easy task, as Rasendal spoke Germany perfectly and they could dress him in different clothes. Consequently, nobody would know that he wasn't the king. Number 5. How did his education help him to play the role of the king? Yes, he studied at German school and German universities. That's why he spoke German as well as he spoke English. لأنه درس بالجامعات والمدارس الألمانية، فهو يتحدث الألمانية بطلاقة كما يتحدث الإنجليزية. درجة إجادته للإنجليزية. What are the strengths and weaknesses of Rasendal? القوة. Rasendal has some weak points and some strong points. What are these? His strengths: he knew how to speak French, Italian, and Spanish. He was good with a gun and a strong swordsman. He was also very good at riding a horse. يبقى